It's been 5 years since a 5-year-old Michael Komape drowned in a pit toilet in Mahlodumela Primary School in Chebeng Village, that's outside Polokwane. Komape's parents are suing the state for 3 million rand and also want to compel it to provide decent sanitation at schools across Limpopo. The Supreme Court of Appeal has now heard the late Michael Komape's case brought forward by Rights Lobby Group Section 27. We're joined by Shanice Linda-Boehm, an education attorney from Section 27, to give us the latest on this case. Shanice, a very good evening to you and thanks for your time. What happened in your appeal today? It was due to be heard by the Supreme Court of Appeal.
Good evening and evening to your listeners. I think it went very well, just in terms of right from the onset, the judges, what they did is they had acknowledged the way in which Michael had died was in the most undignified manner, but also acknowledging the state's concessions that this did come from the state's negligence in failing to ensure that the sanitation at the schools were in order. The judges were very engaging, which was really good, and we're hopeful for a positive outcome.
All right. Well, and this follows that High Court ruling, Shanice, that, of course, dismissing the constitutional damages claim. So with regard to that, are you at liberty, I'm not sure, to tell us what were some of the things that you were required to answer for the Komape family? What were some of the questions you were asked today about that?
Just a lot of it was just around, because I think initially we had claimed damages for emotional shock and grief. Emotional shock and trauma. We also did ask for the development of the common law as well as constitutional damages, and then further counseling for Michael's younger brother. And I think a lot of the discussion that we had to engage on was the discussion around the constitutional damages and the development of the common law. So, yeah, we're looking forward to the judgment just to see how that turns out. But we are hopeful that the family will get some form of compensation for the loss that they've occurred.
And what did the Basic Education Department have to say today?
I think it would be best that you engage with them, but I think we did get some concessions just in terms of the negligence that was on the part of the department in terms of making sure that the sanitation at the schools was in order, which it was not.
All right. When are you due back in court for this decision, Shanice?
Judgment was reserved, so what that means is that when the judgment is ready, we will be advised, and we will hear what the judgment is.
And let's just talk about 5 years on since this tragedy, which had us all in tears at the time. I remember when it happened. What is the state of sanitation at schools? Because that's one of your that forms the basis of your appeal as well. Is not just compensation for the family, but also making sure this doesn't happen to another child. And we've seen incidents since Michael's tragedy as well. What are you seeing as Section 27? Because I know you've done intense inspections of facilities as well.
Yeah. So unfortunately, there has been another child that has lost her life, and others that have been injured by falling into pit toilets, which are not they're outlawed in terms of the norms and standards from the DBE. Unfortunately, the state of sanitation is still terrible across the province, across the country. We work specifically in the Limpopo province, and we know of several schools that have plain pit toilets, which is literally just a hole in the ground, and that's not supposed to be the case. There was a structural interdict that was ordered from the High Court, which is still sort of in place, and we are going to still be following up on this issue back in the High Court. So that's basically just saying that the department has got to put a plan in place and needs to make sure that these issues are addressed urgently.
Are you seeing any improvements anywhere on any level, Shanice?
To be fair, since we have begun our work in sanitation in the province, which began essentially in 2012, we did see and we have seen some improvements. The problem is that it's a very slow pace. And like I'm saying, there are still several schools which literally just have holes in the ground, and we've got learners as young as 5-6 years old expected to go to these toilets. So there has been improvements, to be fair. We've seen that there has been several enviroloos that were put up after we started moving and the issue of sanitations in school did pick up. But then we did also come across problems where we saw, contractors didn't finish the job because there was issues of non-payments and stuff like that. So there has been improvements, but it has been quite slow, and there's a lot still to be done.
Thanks very much. Section 27's Shanice Lindeboom. Isn't it a shame that children have to die and we have to go to court just to get a decent toilet for them to go to between class?